Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Live Happily Ever Now. I am your host, Carrie Briggs. I am so very excited for today's guest. I have been in her world. We have been in each other's world for a couple months now. She helped me heal my inner child very, very powerfully in a beautiful session once. So I'm very excited to introduce AmySue. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. How are you? How are things? Share everybody with what you do and all the things.
Okay. I'm AmySue. I'm a spiritual mentor. I always say I'm your spiritual mentor. Um, and basically, I have 5 children. I'm a mom first and foremost. I love my babies, and my families keep growing. I keep adopting all these other babies. So I think I have 9 kids now. 5 of them I birthed. The rest they just come into the fold. When you need a mom, here I am. I can't help myself, right? Like if there's a baby out, and I don't care how old that baby is, it could be a 10-year-old baby, a 2-year-old baby, or an 80-year-old baby. If you need a mama, I'm coming. So I can't help it. But yeah, I do spiritual work. I predominantly I really love doing inner child integration and more of the integrating, like raising your vibration, your frequency, like really expanding on the fact that we are the creator of our world and we don't have to be a victim. And karma is one of those things that keeps us in the victim world, right? And so I'm trying to use the pathway of grace and show people grace rather than the pathway of karma, because the pathway to grace is so much more peaceful and loving and kind and more innate within our beings. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I do. And I just love doing it. and the 5 Elemental Dragon Reiki came into my life about whenever the fire dragon started, like right before fire.
July.
Yeah, so it's like right back in that time frame. I had some major personal healing that was getting ready to happen, because it comes in layers, right? Like, you move that first level of layer and you're like,
and then
then you're plugging away, and all of a sudden this big layer comes up and knocks you flat on your butt, and you're like, oh, I thought I was doing so good. What happened? What happened? And then you do it again and again and again and again until you realize you don't have to, right? And you find a better way. And so I was really needing to get some massive layers out. And I think that's why the dragon showed up, that and the fact that Ryan and I were really doing healing work on each other and really focusing on certain energies that are more about your original essence and things like that. And when you do those kind of energies, all kinds of original essences come in, because we have been we are I am Amy and I am everything, like you're Carrie and you're everything, exactly. Right? Like we have been, everybody's been everything, because you are everything. You come from the essence of creation, and as creation you are creation, and you cannot help but create, and all of these things. And yeah, so anyways, that's enough about me. And as you can see, that's my passion. I love all that stuff. I'll get going and you won't be able to stop me. So let's talk about you.
I love you so much. And I love how passionate you are. I'm the same way. Like I could talk. I mean, this is why I have a podcast, because I love talking about
It's so fun.
I love sharing it. And there's one thing that you said that I really want to like sit with. It's like you said you don't have to stay in that victim. Like it doesn't have to be hard. We go through this healing, and so many people are scared of healing because they're like, oh my God, it's gonna be so much hard work. I have to go through all this shit, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. Like, yes,
what are you doing right now?
Exactly.
Is your life not hard right now?
Exactly.
It's like you sit and you complain, we complain. Okay, I'm not gonna talk about you, I'll talk about me. I will sit and I will complain about, it's not fair. I don't like this. All those things are happening out there. And that person got hurt, and that person got hurt, and I did this thing, and because I did this thing, this person got hurt. Now I'm this terrible, wicked person, and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It takes the same amount of energy to beat yourself down,
exactly,
as it does to bring yourself up.
Exactly.
It takes the same amount of energy to be negative as it does to be positive. It is a choice. Exactly. It is a choice. We have agency. The creator gave us free will. You always get to choose, and only you can choose. And you know what? Here's the Garden of Eden. God gave you love, peace, joy, bliss, abundance, everything. Here's the tree of life. take it and eat it freely, right? Like literally, God
Uh-huh.
gave us that. And he said, don't eat that tree of good and evil, least you surely die, right? And then
Uh-huh.
what do we do? Oh, I wonder what it would be like to be separate. Oh shoot, I'm all alone now, and I killed God, and I don't know what happened, and I can't find my way home, and I'm just going to create all of this stuff because I'm a creator. I
Uh-huh.
have God within me, so I'm just going to start making all these reasons why I'm not with God because I forgot that I was with God, and I can't remember that, and so I'm going to create these worlds and all this stuff, and here we are, and you
Mm-hmm.
don't have to do it. And because that's innately in us, and because we have guilt, then we're constantly creating a life that invokes guilt, i.e., karma. I got to pay the price. You ain't got to pay the
Exactly.
price. There's no
Exactly.
price to be paid. You
Uh-huh.
get a choice. Do you want to have the fruit of life or do you want to have the fruit of death? You
Uh-huh.
choose. You
And
choose.
that's exactly it. It's like, it's this, we all have this beautiful choice. And exactly you said, you can put the same amount of fucking energy, sorry, I swear on a channel, same amount of energy
There you
into
go.
like raising your vibration and doing something to move it, or you can sit in misery and frustration and be the victim and do the things. And like, we all have that thing. And here's the thing, like shitty things are going to happen in this world. There is no way to escape that. You're going to have bills to pay. Things are going to happen. People are going to get sick. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to do all this stuff. But the moment that you surrender and be like, I'm just going to be a victim, I'm going to complain about it, blah, 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 you are taking away your power and you're not allowing yourself to shift and grow into the higher version of yourself. So it's like you have those choices in those moments. Okay, the shitty thing happened. Can I sit in it? Do I sit in it and just like be a miserable human and blame everybody else for my shit? Or do I do something about it? And that is like those moments you create, like that separates you from everybody else because you're deciding in those moments to be like, no, I'm going to choose the higher path. It doesn't have to be this hard. I can
You're,
move through this so much faster.
you're becoming a conscious creator.
Exactly. And that's like that, I think for myself was one of the biggest shifts that I've ever made. Because again, I was a victim my entire life, quote unquote victim. I made myself a victim. I was raised by a narcissist. And so for me, this everything was negative. Everybody was always against me. And I understand this after doing a lot of inner work. But now I have this moment like, okay, I have this thing, didn't pay this bill, forgot to pay the bill, blah, 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 whatever. That's on me. How do I fix it? I don't blame it on everybody else or whatever the situation is. And so like
Yeah.
having that awareness has been one of the biggest things on my healing journey for my own peace. And actually,
Yeah.
before we were recording, we were talking about Amy said she woke up late and all these things. And she's like, whatever, it's just going to be what it is. And that is a huge shift because we can't control anything, and ruminating on all the negatives is just going to create more problems in your life. So switching
Well,
it.
that's the chaos, right? Like that,
Uh-huh.
like literally the thing that people don't realize is that life is lifing. Life
Exactly.
doesn't care what you want. Life is going to life,
Exactly.
right? You have influence, but you don't get to, like your influences. Are you the creator of your world? Do you take
Exactly.
complete responsibility? Because if you do, then you are the creator of your world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot that comes with that. The good, the bad, and the ugly, right? You can't just be like, yeah, I created that good thing, but no, I didn't create that bad thing because you're giving your power to the bad and you're trying to control the good, right? That ain't gonna
Exactly.
work. So when we really realize that, it's kind of like, well, what am I doing here, right? Like, why
Mm-hmm.
am I gonna let this take my peace? Like we're late. There's nothing we can do about it. I can't go back. I don't have a time machine right now that I can jump in and pop back an hour before time and wake up and get to school on
Uh-huh.
time. So no matter what I do, they will get to school late. No
Uh-huh.
matter what, it's going to happen. So now this is our new reality. I'm going to live in it in peace. I'm
Ex-
not going to be jumping up and down, screaming in my new now about how late I am and all that other stuff, because then I'm just destroying this moment where
ex-
I could be loving all my kids, and then my kids are going to be like, "Oh, mommy's upset, and I was bad. I didn't get to school on time." You know what? What? No, go get your shower, get ready. We're going to get to school. It's fine.
ex-
It's not the end of the world.
and that's
Things are going to happen, and you just
Mhm.
navigate through them. It's like I think it's important as parents, especially, to teach our children that emotional resolve. Like my
Yes.
sister passed away in October, and I still get really, really emotional
Mhm.
sometimes. Because she was kind of more like a daughter to me.
Yeah.
I basically raised that baby. So though she's my sister, she was also very maternal to her. And I was in a store with my kids about a week ago when we were in Walmart walking around, and I seen this lady with her little baby, and the baby's handicapped,
Mm.
and shaking and doing the things that my sister would do. They have a very distinct shake and laugh, and
Yeah.
she was doing that, and all I could see was just that big ball of joy of love. So I have to go talk to this mom about the baby. I have to go
Uh-huh.
talk, and she tells me some things, and they're trying to get some things for the baby. And I'm like, you know what? Can I pray for her? I want to put her on my prayer list. Is that okay with you? And I got her name. Her name is Maddie.
Mhm.
And I'm like so excited. So if y'all want to pray for Maddie, go ahead and pray for
Yes.
Maddie. She needs to get some new braces, and that would be great for her. And so and we're walking away, and then I just have this floodgate of tears coming up,
Mhm.
and I'm walking to Walmart for my kids, and these tears are like literally just screaming down my face. And my kids are like, Mama, and they're patting my back, and they're like, Are you okay? And I'm like, Yes, babies, I'm okay. I'm thinking about my sister, and I loved her very much. And it's called grief, and that's okay. And it comes when it comes, and it's okay to experience that grief. And I'm only crying because I love her.
Mhm.
So we're just walking through the store, and I'm just crying, and my kids are just like, but I'm teaching my kids that it's okay to feel your feels. It's
Yes.
okay to experience it in the moment. You
Yeah.
don't have to hide it, stuff it, try to get to it later. That's what makes people sick. We are
Exactly.
meant to feel. You
Uh-huh.
have to let your tear ducts is not about sadness. Everybody talks about, oh, I don't want to be sad. No, this is an emotional release valve, baby. It's emotional
Exactly.
release. That's what when you're really happy, what do? You freaking cry. When you're really sad, you cry. When you're really mad, you cry. You cry with every major emotion because it is an emotional release. You have to release the emotions. Your body is made to do that. And when you don't, these little energy balls get stuck in your body, and they cause disease, decay,
This
all
is
kinds of things that you
yes,
don't want, right?
exactly.
You got to clean it out. You got to
Uh-huh.
flush the system. And
Mhm.
your tears are your natural flushing system.
Uh-huh. And
Don't stop
that's
the tears.
this
Normalize crying.
yeah, this is something I'm extremely passionate about, and I've been teaching my kids
I
too.
can tell because you
I
were
know.
like,
I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
because, I didn't cry. Again, being raised by a narcissist, I wasn't allowed to have my own emotions.
No,
It
you
wasn't
can't have any
acceptable.
emotion.
I couldn't because it took away from the other person. So it took me years and years and years before I started crying. And my husband, the first time I cried, we've been together for like 5 years before I cried. And he's like, what is wrong with you? But and again, I shamed myself because I didn't know. And this is before I really woke up to healing. And now
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who cry over everything. And
Everything.
my kids are like, Mommy, why? And then my kids, oh my God, my daughter, she's like the person that if she sees somebody crying, she starts crying for no reason. So she's like,
Natural
why
empath.
are we crying today? I'm like, because I had a good day, baby. We had a good day. But that's something like I advocate for my children.
That is so
Oh
beautiful.
my
Why
gosh,
are we crying, mommy? I just
why are
love
we
that.
crying?
I love that.
But it's something I'm so passionate about because I wasn't allowed to. I wasn't allowed to have my emotions. And again, it caused a lot of dis-ease in my body. And this, like,
Yes.
we can go down that entire train, but we're not going to do it right now. So this is like when I talk to my clients and like, I have a friend right now going through a lot of grief and I'm like, cry. They're like, I don't want to cry. I'm like, no, you need to cry, honey. Like, you need to let it out because bottling it up is going to create so much more trauma in your body. And yes, you have a lot of things going on right now, but release those emotions. And the same thing with my kids when they get frustrated or angry. I'm like, be angry. Go scream
Yes.
outside. Go scream in a pillow. Let those out because keeping them in is going to do so much more damage than allowing your emotions to move, to be. And if you do this work now as a child, you're not going to have to do all the work as an adult because you learned how to manage your emotions as a child.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is that the reason why that all these children, we live in a world of non-emotional intelligence. These parents,
Exactly. Uh-huh.
I mean, our parents, as God loving as they were,
Exactly.
they didn't know how to be emotional because they weren't taught that, and they weren't taught that. It has
Tools.
been this
Yeah.
generations after generations, and now what happens is everybody tries to overcorrect, right? So we go from like strict military with sergeant parents
Uh-huh.
to helicopter parents
Uh-huh.
to now it's just like gentle parent. Like now it's like I'm sorry you feel that way. It's okay.
Yeah.
I need to validate you, and I need to also give you permission. It's okay that you feel the way that you feel. I need to validate
Exactly.
your feelings, and also need to teach you that yes, you feel this way, but you also get to be aware of how other people feel. Because
Exactly.
now we're going to the other extreme where it's only all about, like, a parent comes out of the woodwork talking about it's all about their kid, but they're not thinking about the other kids, right? And then I
Exactly.
come into the picture and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. We're
Uh-huh.
not gonna blame one kid here. This is no one person fault.
This is
There's a lot of bodies here.
A lot of people's.
And we're gonna get to the root of this and figure out what everybody's role is so everybody can feel better. And we're not gonna blame a person. There's no scapegoats here. We don't do that scapegoating.
Yes, and that's exactly it. It's like there are and again, I have 3 kids. There are 5 peoples in this household. There's a lot of different energies. And if we spend and this is something, I work on with my husband too, because he has a lot of trauma. And I'm like, you can't blame your child for a reaction that you're having. Like, that's on you.
Yes.
But however, like, you're feeding off each other. And one of my sons and my husband, they go at each other like this. And I'm like, y'all need to separate. And we need just to like feel your feelings separately, and then we can come back and be normal family people. And that's like, I feel like it's something I'm really actively pursuing in this household, is like, we're allowed to feel our feelings separately, but we don't need to attack each other for having the feelings, because we're frustrated with each other, because we're all triggering each other, and it gets to be beautiful. And I lost my train of thought.
No, that's exactly it, right? Those timeouts are important in families.
Yes, so
and realizing that you're responsible for how you feel. It's not you triggered me. Here's the thing that I'm like, because you teach a kid you triggered me and they will beat you in the head with that.
Exactly.
So it's not you triggered me. It's I feel triggered right now.
I feel triggered right now. Exactly. And that's something like and my son even, and he's my very big emotional child. And he's at this point now, he's like, Mom, I'm flipping my lid right now. I'm walking away. And I'm like, as a parent, I'm like, I'm winning, because he has this awareness now.
You want to go hug him up? Yes, your self-awareness. You tell him afterwards, like, I am just so proud of you. The emotional intelligence that you're showing right now, son. You are doing so much better than I was at your age. I wish that I would have had the knowledge that you have right now. Watching you grow into this amazing, it's the best thing ever, isn't it?
It's amazing. And it's so funny because he's like not a touchy-feely kid. So he's had these moments where he's like, I need to go walk away right now. And he comes back and I'm like, I'm like, I know you don't want me to hug you right now. And I know you don't want to be touched. I know you need your alone time, but I'm so proud of you for having the awareness or speaking what's on your mind and being like, I'm really upset right now, Mom, or I'm really angry right now. And I'm like, you have no idea how powerful understanding that is. Like, to be 8 years old and understand and have the emotional awareness that you have is just, advocating for your kids is so powerful. And like watching
and teaching them to advocate, right? Like that was one of my biggest thing was like my kids they wanted, because we grew up, there was a narcissist in their family, a few of them. And so they grew up around that kind of structure. And kids that grow up in those kind of environments, you have like a really extremely codependent parent and you have an extremely militaristic parent, authoritative and that kind of thing, dictator basically. And when you have both extremes, it's like then they don't want to advocate for themselves, right? Because they know if I advocate for myself, I'm gonna get in trouble with this parent.
Exactly.
But if I hold out, then this parent is gonna come along and do everything for me, so I don't get in trouble with that parent. So it's like, so they learn to, and it's not their fault, right? They learned helplessness because it's easier to do nothing, because then it's going to get done by this parent and I don't get in trouble with that parent. And so to protect themselves, it's a built-in protective mechanism, right? They're not lazy. They're not bad. They're not anything. They're trying to freaking survive a chaotic environment.
Exactly. Right? Explained my entire family dynamic before we started this.
It's a lot of our family dynamic.
It really is. And again, we're doing the best we can with the tools we have. Our parents did the best they could with the tools they had, just like we said earlier. So to shame ourselves, because like there was a moment there, I'm like, oh my God, that's totally our family dynamic, and it was. And I sat there, I'm like, no, I don't need to shame myself for that.
No, there's no shame in it. That awareness allows us to be able to change. And that's the thing that I cannot stand, right? There's in Star Wars, there's a moment when little Anakin and
I haven't seen
what's that girl's name? Who marries Anakin? I cannot think of her name. Princess.
Anyway, Princess Leia.
Amideo, whatever her name is. Amelia Dadeo, whatever her name is. So she doesn't understand his ways, right? Because she's from she's from the royalty world and he's from the peasant world, basically. And so she says something that's off or whatever. And he gets kind of takes offense to it. And then she looks at him. Because she has no shame and complete and utter confidence in herself. She just looks at him and says, I'm sorry. I was not aware of what that word means in your world, right? Like, so she's like, I don't know, I'm ignorant, right?
Yeah.
And ignorance is not a bad thing. People think that ignorance is stupid. Ignorance means you don't know. You're not
Exactly.
stupid. You don't know. It's okay to be ignorant. You just learn. If
But
you're
it's been
ignorant, you
demonized. The
just
word,
learn.
exactly. The word ignorant has been like demonized and shamed so deeply.
Yes, it has huge amounts of shame rooted
Yes,
into it. And so people don't want to be ignorant because they think it means stupid, right?
exactly.
But what that does is it keeps you from being able to learn. You cut your hand off. You're
Exactly.
unwilling to learn because you close your mind and
Hmm.
then you won't listen rather than being like, oh, it's like this. So then you're just learning. If there was no shame, then people could be corrected and people could just move on. It's that shame that creates all the abuse. It's the shame that creates all the pain.
It
It's
closes the
the shame that
doors.
creates the suffering, right?
Yeah,
Like, because you feel like you're this bad person and then you won't look at it. Like every time I try to talk to my
exactly.
littlest son, I'm
It's
like,
that.
baby, you're
Uh-huh.
okay.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, and anytime I'm correcting him because I don't want to punish.
Yeah.
Me and I kind of have some debates with some people because I'm like, I don't think we need to punish our kids.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think punishment is necessary. It's always about correction. It's only ever about correction. I don't
Exactly.
want to hurt you. Why would I want to hurt you? I love you.
Well,
I
that's like,
just There's a better way. I just want to show you another way. You're doing it this way, and that's okay. But it's not really working that way. Why don't we try it this way? I
well, it's
want
like
to
an
inform them, to
adult.
educate them, and then they'd be different, right? Like,
Yeah.
because we're all learning. Like, I make mistakes and I come to someone and ask for forgiveness, right? Like, I did this thing and now it created this pain in you, and I didn't really realize that that was going to happen, and I feel bad about that now, and I'm sorry about that, and I wouldn't be different now. Can you forgive me for that? Like, and then people would just be like, yeah, but because I feel bad about what I did, then I got to justify and make it smaller than what it was to you, and I take away from your experience, and I'll be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Get over it. Why are you crying so bad? Oh, you acting like a baby, whatever. Because
Exactly.
I feel bad inside of me, rather than
Gaslighting.
saying, my bad, baby. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I would never do that on purpose because that's all they want to hear. And the moment
Exactly.
they hear that, their heart just melts, and they're like, oh yeah, that's my baby. They don't want to hurt me, and
Uh-huh.
then everything is fine. But when we don't do that, we create that barrier, and then there's no way for love to meet. Love can't
Ex-
join.
Exactly. And that's like, there's so many pieces in there that were absolute gold. Oh my God. But this last piece is like I'm not even apologizing. First off, if we were to, and I say this now, like if we were to punish
No, I know
ourselves
what
as
you mean.
adults, yes, if we were to punish ourselves as adults, the way that we punish our children for making a mistake, I mean, we already do punish ourselves. We tell ourselves we're bad. The things we tell ourselves in our head are complete and awful. But
Yes,
think about like, and this is how I put it in like other people's perspectives. I'm like, the way you're treating yourself right now, would you want to treat your child like that? Like, no, we don't because we feel awful. It feels awful. And then the other piece that I wanted before I completely forget it again is like the apologizing to your kids thing. This is something I have been so I'm still working on it. I mean, we're all working on it. It's like if I make a mistake, if I snap, if I do this, I'm like, I'm sorry, that was not your fault. I was in a very overstimulated, triggered state. All of these things
yep,
were happening. Like it wasn't okay for me to snap. It wasn't okay. I made a mistake. And I'm saying, and like I love you, and it's okay to make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. But that's something I kind of overdo right now to make a point of we're human, like, yes, we're spiritual, but we're also in human bodies and we're doing all of these
yes.
things. We have no idea what the heck we're doing. And
Grace.
just like exactly having grace for yourself. Because I could sit there being like, I'm a horrible mother, I snapped at my kids, I blah, 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 I did all this stuff, you triggered me, you did this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Yep,
that's gaslighting them. Like, we don't need to gaslight our kids into thinking that our triggers are their fault because it's not it.
exactly.
And so like having like apologizing out loud, because my parents never apologized to me for snapping. Like that was never something they did. So like over be like, mommy's really sorry. Mommy's had a hard day, or mommy was really upset by this, or she was distracted by this, and you went to like all of these things, but it wasn't your fault. And that is just like has changed the dynamic in our household massively
Yes.
because it completely takes away all blame. And it's like, okay, I love you.
And the guilt, right? Now
And the guilt.
they're not carrying the guilt for your emotions.
Exactly, which is that's not their responsibility.
Exactly.
Oh,
So look at you with the awareness to break those cycles and not repeat that in your family.
we're working on it. We're trying.
You're doing it.
We are doing it. We are. And here's the thing. It's messy. Like all of this is messy. But going back to the beginning of our conversation, it doesn't have to be hard. Those
Mhm.
moments where I'm not a perfect parent, I could sit there and beat myself up, or I can choose, okay, I'm going to create with chaos. This is a chaotic environment. Things are going to happen. My kids are going to be crazy. I have a sick kid home. I swear to Jesus every single day. Um, like all the things. I can sit here and complain, or I can be like, okay, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to work on this? How are we going to do this as a family and create this magical life that we want and
Yeah.
still do all the things? It's wild. Wild, wild, wild.
Yes.
Okay, so to kind of wrap this up, is there like anything, is there like one piece of advice? I always ask everybody, I guess, one piece of advice that you would love to share with the audience, like the thing that you tell everybody, or you just feel is really strongly coming through right now.
Oh my gosh. If I could boil it down to one thing, that's a tough
I know
one.
it's so hard.
Oh Lord.
Our
Well, what do you
multi-dimensional
see?
selves.
What do you want him to know, Spirit? What's the most important thing right now? I would just say that you are as God created you.
Yeah.
You literally are the creator of your life. If you don't listen to anything that we said today or anything that I ever say, the most important thing that I can ever teach you would be you are the creator of your life and everything in it. And it's only until your life, you will continue to not have the life that you want as long as you keep putting the responsibility for your life outside of yourself.
That,
And when you take it and turn it around and you bring everything, and I mean everything into you, it starts and ends with you every single time. There is no out there. You bring it home every time. And that's the way to peace. And that's the way to love. And that's the way to joy. And that's the way to have everything that you've ever wanted, because you are a creator. You can have anything. You can create hell or you can create peace. You can create love or you can create hate. You can create joy or you can create whatever the opposite of joy is. Grumpiness. I don't know.
grumpy.
But like you
Yeah.
you are the controller. Like nobody's doing anything to you. I know that we believe that, and I know that you've been taught that, but that's not really true. It disempowers you. You are a powerful being. Do you understand that God created you like unto itself? You are a creator through and through, and there is nothing you can do to change that. So the only choice you have is, are you going to create the good life, or are you going to keep creating the life that you don't want? Because that's really the only choice you have. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. And if you can understand that, it will change your entire freaking universe.
It changes.
And I love you all so much, but that would be what I would say.
Okay, so the most beautiful, I mean, it's all aligned and beautiful. So at the beginning of this, I was like, I always like write down like what I think the topics of this podcast will be. So the topic that came through was becoming the conscious creator of your life. So the fact that you just like downloaded that,
and that's my most important message ever.
like it was like the thing I wrote down right in the bottom. You can't read my handwriting. But I'm like, well then, that's not perfect alignment if I don't do this.
That's perfect alignment.
So oh my God, this has been so
and that's how life gets to be.
Exactly.
When you become the creator of your life, that is your life, because whatever you think, that's what happens.
It's the flow.
Whatever shows up is what shows up.
Exactly. And like, we can't control anything. Like at the end of the day, we can't control anything. And the more that you surrender and just allow it to be, everything works out exactly the way it needs to. And like I always say, nothing is happening to you, it's happening for you. And you get to decide how you show up for those assignments in your life. You can show up with frustration and anger and sadness and whatever, or peace and love and so many other things. Oh, this has been absolutely incredible. We're gonna have to do
I
this
know, I love it. I
because
was like, oh my gosh, I just love podcasts. This is only like the maybe third or fourth one I've ever done. I'm like, I love it because I just love talking about spirituality and I love people. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
I know we're totally gonna have to do this again because I feel like we can have so many more conversations around so many beautiful things.
Oh my God, we could do like a whole mini series.
Do a whole mini series, Carrie and Amy.
The Carrie and Amy Sweet Tea Show.
I'm gonna have to wear my sparkly dress next time so that I can match you though.
Yes.
So this has been awesome, and we are going to, any links that you have, please let me know, and we're going to put it in the bottom of this podcast so everybody can reach out and connect with you. And is there any offer that you want to share right now? Is there any offer you have right now that you want to share? If not, that's okay too, but
let's see. Well, right now what I have on offer is I just have like a regular session. This is spirit-led session where we go in and we just work on whatever spirit says is up right now. I have the inner child integration, which is my absolute jam. It's life changing. Like it's literally destiny changing, y'all.
Oh yeah.
You never be the same again. And then I have the mentorship program, which is that's my favorite, right?
Mhm.
For people who are ready to really just dive in and just become that creator of their life. Like get rid of all the deception, all of it. We're gonna just go in there and remove everything. Clear your vessel so that you can be that I, right? That you were meant to be.
Exactly.
The I am. So I have that available to you, and I'm working on other things. Finally, trying to get systems in place. I'm not a techie girl, but I'm learning. I'm
Learning game,
it's
man.
working itself out, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So, but anyways, if you guys have questions or anything, just reach out to me. Just shoot me a message. I love to have a conversation with people before I do work with them. And matter of fact, I recommend that you always have a conversation if you're going to do any kind of deep healing work with someone, to see that your
Totally.
spirit resonates with them, right?
See
Like
if your
you need
energy matches. Yeah.
exactly, because you're not going to open up to somebody that you don't vibe with. If they're not in your
Exactly.
tribe, you will not open up. It's just not going to happen. So you really need to have those conversations with that person and make sure that they're doing the work too, and make sure that they really want to teach you and not preach at you. Because if they're telling you everything about you, then how are you learning
Not
yourself?
worthy. It's
This
not
is your journey. You are your
exactly.
own healer. You are your physician. Heal thyself. I guide you. You do the work, right?
Exactly.
Like if they're doing it all for you, run for the hills because you ain't growing, baby.
Exactly.
Because you becoming codependent. I guarantee you, you have a codependent relationship in your life, and now you're doing codependent with your healing. Don't do it.
Exactly.
You need to have an interdependent healing relationship. You want a healthy healing relationship, just like you want a healthy romantic relationship and a healthy family. It all needs to be healthy. It all needs to be balanced. It should not be they own you. They're taking care of everything. Don't do it.
That is such a
Way too more powerful than that.
It's exactly.
Don't negate your power.
No, that is something that's very, very important. Like I talk about for 2 seconds before we stop this. That is a very important thing about of healing is that finding somebody who can hold space for you, because a real true healer and mentor will hold space for you, but they will not control you. And that is, I know Amy does that. And so I did a mini child healing integration session with her, and holy mother, I still have memories from that. It's craziness. Anyway, so very powerful. Everybody go do that with her. But the whole mentorship piece, finding the right mentor or somebody who can hold the space for you to allow you to heal. It is not our responsibility to heal you. It is your responsibility. It is our responsibility to hold space so that you can heal yourself.
Yes.
And finding a person who can do that for you is absolutely incredible, and you feel so safe. I have mentors that I have now that I can hold space for me, and I hold space for my clients. And it is, when you find somebody who can do that, it is just absolutely incredible. Like we can't even, until you're in a space like that, you can't explain it. But yes.
You like the country music alarm going off in the background?
I can't even hear it. So
I'm glad you can't hear it, because I can hear it. I was like, did they hear all this country music?
we can't. But this has been absolutely incredible. And thank you so much for being here. And I will drop all of Amy's links below. Please feel free to reach out to her or me. Thank you so much for listening to Live Happily Ever Now. And I will see you next week. Bye.
Love you. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
Bye.